I forgot to add myself to the stream. I've been I've been streaming. Nobody's watching anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I was uh I was streaming and no one was watching because I wasn't in the stream. Oh dear. Uh, yeah. Well, I think starting before 9:01 would I think it counts as being on time, even if we didn't start right on the second like we normally do. I'm gonna go ahead and invite the old co-hosts who have not. The stream was so hastily put together. I've not even sent the link out yet, so I'll just paste the link. See if someone turns up. How's everyone doing tonight? Yes, I know I'm late. I mean, I'm not as late as waiting for UO, so let's just actually find the show. I hope he's actually doing it tonight. I have no idea. I was vaguely had an idea that I might do this stream at some point tonight, and then it got to literally 4 minutes before 9. Here it is. So let's go ahead and share this because we are professional. We're nothing if we're not professional, and goodness knows I wouldn't like to be nothing. All right, there you are, Ant Burger, in that chat as well. So how many of you caught the was it 5.5 hour live stream just about Carl Rittenhouse? I wonder, out of the thousands of views that stream I expect has, I wonder how many people were there at the time, started at the start and finished at the end live. Like AA, we know was definitely there. I'm guessing most of the guests didn't even make it for the entire duration. It's just that's so late. That's it's such a long stream. I know that there are other longer streams. By there's one stream that comes to mind that shall not be named, lest I call down fire and brimstone upon myself. But there are longer live streams, but I still am somewhat incredulous about it. And I saw a screenshot that involved 9 participants in that stream, which is kind of amazing. Like the longer he goes, the more people join, not the they don't drop out. I don't know. It's too much for me. I like the brevity of Women's Hour, where you show up, go for an hour, and no matter where you are in the conversation, if you got super chats or not, whatever, you just stop. An hour long. That's neat, and I feel like we get a lot done. Not that I'm here to shamelessly promote my own stream. We're here to talk about unpopular opinions. Part 188. Carl Rittenhouse analysis. Did they not analyze it enough? Come on. I mean, has it been? So this is the first unpopular opinions, I think, since the verdict, which was on Friday. But it's not the first stream since then. What is he gonna? What are they gonna say that wasn't said in that 5.5 hour stream? Oh dear. This week's Women's Hour, we've got a new contender who I know nothing about, but she's coming on. Well, she says she's coming on, and she's got some makeup adverts lined up for me. And I love talking about media analysis, but also especially talking about adverts. I asked AA for special permission to copy his stream from last year, where he looked at all the Christmas adverts. Did any of you catch that? Last year at Christmas, this time last year, he and I believe Panama had a live stream together where they talked about the Christmas adverts of every major brand, the UK brands. And I loved it. I thought it was a great stream. I wanted to do it for Women's Hour, but AA said he's bringing it back. So you hear it here first. He's going to be doing another Christmas advert stream at some point, probably in December, because we're getting close to the end of November now. Most of the adverts are out now, though. But yes, I won't be joining it. He invited me to join politely after I expressed how excited I was about the concept, but he's doing it in the middle of the day, so it'll be a deepest law sort of a midday deal while I'm at work, and I could take a half day or a day off to do a live stream, but I don't think I will. We can't all be like Radlib, who just I don't know if he's self-employed or what. I've always found that situation. Was it Pharaoh? That sounds like it could have been a Pharaoh. Yeah. Oh, Radlib's here. I've just summoned him by invoking his name. I brought Radlib into existence.
Hi.
And he has you have a libertarian bow tie on today.
What do you mean? Oh, well, I do wear bow ties not just for my show. Sometimes depends on whether I have a vest on.
Oh, I like it. No, they're good. I'm only making a rather obscure callback to the men's fashion episode of, I believe, Deepest Law, where
Yes.
AA doesn't favour the bow tie apparently, and he said that it's the favoured neckwear of libertarians everywhere.
There is a tradition because I'm trying to remember who started it. I think it's Murray Rothbard. He just liked how he looked with a bow tie better, or maybe his wife liked how he looked with a bow tie. And then a number of others have worn bow ties since then. But not everybody. Lou Rockwell, I don't think I've ever seen him in a bow tie, for example.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're continuing the tradition. I mean, it's not quite like a "Don't Tread on Me" T-shirt, but it's interesting to have these little dog whistles of political allegiance that are.
Well, I remember what Walter Block said about, I think it was him, about dressing nice. He said, because a number of us are not just libertarians, we're libertarian anarchists like myself, right? And he said, we've got to dress nice or they'll think we're the wrong kind of anarchists, you know?
That's a good
like
point,
J.R. Tolkien talked about, I'm an anarchist, but not the bomb throwing cigar smoke. What do you call it? Something like that. The bomb throwing sort, you know? So, right. I mean, it's funny because what we see with the left-wing anarchism, right, is that they're bringing the chaos in the streets, and libertarian anarchists like myself are highly devoted to order. You know, we would have, in our view, the problem with society is that way too lax, way too disorderly. It looks very chaotic from my point of view. You know.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know if you have any inside knowledge, but I'm hoping that AA will start the stream soon. I was emotionally and mentally not prepared, and I was literally not prepared for the stream. We ended up starting
really?
about 40 seconds late. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't want to be here, but I don't have much to talk about. I don't know if you have a good week or what.
Well, we could talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing real quick just to situate this. You're right. I, in particular, was involved with a discussion that was Sunday night, my time, really early Monday morning.
But yes, you joined that.
UK
Time. I saw you were in the screenshot.
Yeah, that's right. And I was particularly opposed to his take on Kyle Rittenhouse saying that he supported BLM. But anyway.
It sounded like everyone was opposed to him. Is that right?
No, Turnip.
Okay.
My frequent guest on my show, Turnip was a little bit more on the AA side, but I thought it was AA was doing a rather robotic application of algorithm. You know, he expressed support for BLM. I don't need to think about, what he meant or what his situation is. I just have a rule. Someone expresses support for BLM and they're banished, So I thought that was rather inhuman and robotic. But anyway, autistic, maybe we could say. I don't know. Don't want to insult autistic.
Sounds fair to me.
But yeah. So anyway, that if you're interested in that was on AA Gold. You can still find it, I believe, and it's like the Kyle Loves BLM stream. I think he retitled it and put all our names in it.
Yeah, I mentioned that just before you jumped in, and I speculated that many of the guests probably didn't make it for the entire duration of that one. How many hours did you stick around for?
Oh, I was on much longer than I ought to have been. I had driven in from Chicago, and so I was really exhausted. And I joined just because I was having one of those "someone is wrong on the internet" moments, which I rarely give into. But in this case, the someone was AA, and he had invited people to come on and talk to him about it. So
I think it is almost harder when it's a friend.
Yeah.
Because, and it's easy when you get into what they call it, like a flame war. That's what we used to call it.
Right.
With a random person on the internet, and if they're being really rude to you or just extremely stupid, it's quite easy just to spend a few minutes talking to them and then decide that they're not really worth your time. This person's an idiot. This person's too rude and obnoxious, and then just forget it. But if I find the hardest arguments are with people who you like just enough that you are interested in persuading them, and that they're not being rude enough for you to be rude back, if that makes sense.
Be dismissive. Yeah. I have to say, I mean, this was an unusual moment for me because I did a lot of arguing when I was much younger, decades ago. And somewhere along the line, I can't put my finger on it, but somewhere along the line, I just completely lost my taste for it. So you're probably not going to see me in a lot of like debates and stuff. I just don't have an interest in that sort of thing.
I have kind of noticed that tendency from you, which I respect, not getting down in the mud. I've always seen.
I got it out of my system. I wouldn't say I never did it. I just did it when I was a teenager.
I'm sure that there's going to be people in this chat who contradict me, but I think the debate team or the debate society is quite an American phenomenon. I don't think I've ever heard of that in any secondary schools or universities.
As like as an activity in that way. I mean, obviously, Oxford style debate comes from the UK. Yeah, but you're talking about like training for debate specifically.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've just seen it in on TV and I've seen clips on YouTube of actual like competitions where people compete to debate.
Yeah. And
that's what you did, or you just talking about?
No. I didn't do anything formal. I just was a center of controversy. People always were arguing with me about religion and so forth. So anyway, to situate what he would be doing today, there's a couple things going on. First of all, that AA Gold is a secondary channel, and a lot of people wouldn't have even known that happened. So even though some people might have already listened to hours of talk about this sort of thing, that doesn't mean the Unpopular Opinions audience has. But to tie it back into what happened Sunday night, Keith Woods takes more is more opposed to AA's take. I think Keith Wood said, "Hey, I want to debate about this," and AA said, "Well, just come on UO and we'll talk about it." So there will be more Kyle Loves BLM talk shortly. Lambda, hello, sir.
Hey, sorry I'm so late.
I hope you weren't waiting long, because I was checking the stream to see. I was reading the description on the stream. And I wasn't looking at StreamYards.
Not too long. No, it was my fault. I was late. Yeah, my impression of debate clubs is that people just end up rattling off a million points a minute, and it's more of a gish gallop than an intellectual exercise.
And you get assigned I believe you get assigned a position. You don't even get to decide your own.
Well, the principle seems sound, which is that you're not really learning to argue for your position. You're learning to argue for a position. So it's a little bit more like training to be an attorney or something, right?
Yeah.
How can you best represent, one side of it, and they can literally flip a coin and at the last minute tell you which side it is. I don't know if they do it that way, but they could, right? Because you're just supposed to be able to argue either side as best as you can. So I kind of get why they do it that way, but on the other hand, it seems a little bit artificial, right? Like, do you really want to be good at arguing for a position that's evil, right? I mean, is that a skill? Are you cultivating something that's good for your soul?
To be charitable, then, perhaps you could argue that if one side were more skilled rhetorically, that would override the truth. And as long as everybody's equally skilled, as long as both sides are bringing forth the best rhetorical devices that exist, you're back to hunting for truth. Maybe.
Have you seen
like in a legal setting, you want both sides to represent as strong of a case as possible, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Good point.
Advocates. Yeah.
I keep thinking of the scene from The Simpsons where it's a flashback episode where Homer's recalling his being at a high school debate society, and he just sort of turns up. He's not supposed to be there, and the facilitator, whatever you want to call her, she says, "We're debating lowering the speed limit to 35 miles an hour. And he goes, 35 miles an hour, are you crazy? That's sure it'll save a few lives, but millions will be late. And
yes. At some point of audience, if you have enough people watching you, then every minute of their wasted time is like a lifetime destroyed.
Yeah, we talked about that before on this show about lateness and punctuality. We're saving lives
it's
here.
our passion.
Yeah, we have some.
Someone's asking Radlib if you crossed state lines to get to this stream.
Yeah, well, that's funny. I actually was in Chicago on Sunday. That wasn't that long ago. Wow. Yeah, I have an annual trip I take with my 8-year-old son to visit a best friend of mine and his son, and we go, they come here for my son's birthday and we go there for his son's birthday each year. So that's cool. Nice. And since I have 8 children, the chance to do something sort of focused on one of them is precious, right?
Yeah.
But Chicago has a reputation for being, well, for one thing, the murder capital of the United States, and also just not a very nice place in particular. I'm guessing there are nice parts of it if your friend.
Well, okay, I say Chicago because I'm from St. Louis, and a peculiarity of St. Louis is that if you're anywhere near the city of St. Louis, you call yourself from St. Louis. Chicago is actually not like that, and I shouldn't say that I went to Chicago because I did not go to the city of Chicago. I went to Wheaton, which Lambda may or may not have heard of, as a sort of
Wheaton College,
evangelical Harvard of the Midwest or whatever, right? And my friend's wife is on the faculty there, Lambda.
Oh, really?
Yes, and my friend's house is right near the Wade Center, which contains a lot of papers of C.S. Lewis, J.R. Tolkien, and the other Inklings. So yeah, kind of a cool place to visit.
Yeah,
and not at all crime-ridden, as far as I can tell. It's actually a charming little town. That's the Chicago sprawl is just sort of swept right past it, but it's still there. This little town.
We get quite sensationalist coverage of the United States. As far as we're concerned, Chicago is entirely a gangland, and crossing state lines is a sort of federal offense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no kidding, Lambda. I had a friend from, I have a good friend from South India, and he called his family and he said 2 things. Number 1, they're not shooting each other in the streets. Number 2, there's churches everywhere, and they're full. They're full of people going to them. So in other words, the depiction that Hollywood or whatever had given a foreigner was that America was irreligious and incredibly violent when in fact religious. And yes, it's violent, but that's contained in certain sort of bad areas,
And the Chicago School of Economics was named for, I think I've said this backwards. There's a famous Chicago school of which Murray Rothbard and
no. So University of Chicago was associated with some people like Milton Friedman and people like that.
That's it.
Stigler. That's the Chicago school. Murray Rothbard is part of the Austrian school.
Oh, really?
Because it started in Vienna, Austria, with Karl Manger, Eugen von Baumbolwerk, Ludwig von Mises, Friedrich von Hayek. Those are all the greats.
I used the mental heuristic, which turned out to be wrong in this case, which is that the all the American sounding names were part of the Chicago school, and all of the European sounding names were of the Austrian school.
No. So then Mises literally personally came to the United States during World War II, by the way, and he was Jewish, so that was quite a trick. From Switzerland. He'd been hiding out in Switzerland. He had a position in Switzerland, came to the U.S., and then his students were people like Murray Rothbard, who literally studied from him directly. And others. And I never knew Mises. He died when I was a child. But I know a number of people. I know some people who studied directly with Mises himself.
That's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So personal chain, right?
My question was whether you've ever visited the University of Chicago.
Yeah, so I had a late Lutheran friend who often talked about the University of Chicago because it was important to him. So I dropped by just to sort of look at the campus. That really is more kind of in the city, as I recall. I think it's in Chicago proper, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
I think
Lumberg says the economics school is named after the musical.
What's the musical?
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Did Radlib ever meet Hopper?
Oh, I've been hanging out late in the bar when he had enough beers in him that he started to become a nice guy. I tease because when I first met Hoppe decades ago, he was self-admittedly a bit more, how does he put it, North German.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he has, and I'm just quoting what he says about himself, but I experience it as well. He has mellowed with age. You'll hear self-deprecating humor from him, and he's just generally more of a gentle spirit about him when he seemed rather, stern when I first met him.
So which was in response to the other? Was the Chicago school a response to the Austrian school or the other way around?
I don't think they were a response to each other. They're independent developments.
Why don't you sit right down and stay a while?
We'd better leave then.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good night. Enjoy the show.
It's not a secret.